Welcome to In the Artist Studio, where we get to peek into the creative spaces of Columbus, Ohio artists, chatting with them on this bi-monthly series, offering an intimate look into the journeys of artists across the city. Hosted by Tina and proudly presented by the Franklinton Arts District. Thanks for joining us.
My name is Christopher Cropper. I normally go by Cropper or Chris, either one. I'm 42. I've been making art for close to 30 years now. I'm pretty much self-taught. I do have some formal training. I did go to the Columbus College of Art and Design, but I dropped out after a semester. It just really wasn't for me. But my primary medium with my murals is mainly spray paint, latex paint, but my studio work, my personal paintings that I do at home in my studio is primarily paint marker, acrylics, and I incorporate a lot of found objects into them.
What type of found objects do you usually?
Everything from old stickers, labels, receipts, lottery tickets, trading cards, old photos, stencils, really anything that catches my eye, because the main theme in my artwork, like with the exception for this, because this wasn't even my idea, but the main theme in my work is people that are members of the working class that are just like kind of quietly struggling, trying to make it through life. And the saying goes, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So when I find these found objects, much like people, they're often overlooked and seen as trash. So it's like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So I like to incorporate them into the work because it builds up the composition, kind of makes it stand out, kind of makes it more unique. But I'm all over the place because like one minute I can be doing what I normally do, which is like really urban street art graffiti type stuff, which I'm known for, but then I can mix it up and do a painting of a raccoon, or I can do a landscape, or I can do pet portraits or realism. So I'm all over the place.
So what inspires you the most?
Like everyday life, and then I draw a lot of influences from various artists, Basquiat's an influence. There's a group of artists called the Beautiful Losers. Definitely look them up if no one has yet. Shepard Fairey Bay Giant is part of it. A lot of them are from the West Coast, but they're all over from the U.S. There's a group of friends that were just like basically outcasts of society. They grew up skateboarding, like huffing glue and just doing stuff as delinquents when they were kids. And they made art on the side. And now these guys make a living doing their art. Some of them sell their art for thousands of dollars. And there was a book made about them. There was a documentary made about them. And a lot of those guys really influenced my work. One of the guys that was in the group, his name is Barry McGee. He goes by Twist. That's his graffiti name. He was really big in the Bay Area and San Francisco in the 90s. He's had shows in museums. So like a lot of those guys really influenced my work, but I drew influences from a lot of other artists, but I kind of developed my own style over the years.
How long have you been doing this creative work?
Like I said, close to 30 years. I really started doing what I do now when I was in my 20s, so over 20 years now.
Wow. So your kind of evolution, what has that looked like?
When I was in high school, I'll be honest, I did realism. Like I would sit in study hall and lunch, and I would draw the girls that I went to school with. I would just get bored, so I had a sketchbook, and so I would draw realistic portraits in pencil. I would do still lifes. I do watercolor paintings of flowers. But I just got sick of that. I got bored of it because it was just boring. I mean, like, and then over the years, people would be like, oh, you should do more of that. You know, it's so nice. It's so pretty. You should do more of that. But, like, I just got tired of it because, like, a million people do that stuff. And I kind of wanted to carve my own niche and go out on my own, do my own thing, do something that made me stand out.
So about when did that start to really develop?
Early 2000s, like 2002. My dad, before he retired, worked for Huntington. And back in the day, before he was with Huntington, he was with Bank Ohio, which was based out of Cleveland. So when I was in my early 20s, we went to Euclid because his boss at the time lived there. And his boss at the time took me to the Cleveland Art Museum, bought me a book called Graffito. And it was about the San Francisco graffiti scene in the 90s. That book is solely responsible for what I do now. Like, I opened that book and my mind was just blown. I'm like, I have to start doing this. And I started doing graffiti illegally when I was in my early 20s. I used to write with a crew here in town. So like that, ever since probably like 2002, 2001, I've been doing what I do now.
So within the Franklinton Arts District, like in Franklinton here, what has been kind of your role with how the art scene has developed here?
I mean, just participating in urban sprawl and networking and making connections. That's mainly it. I don't live here, I don't work here, but I pretty much know a lot of the people here, and I have a lot of really good friends here. So just like by participating and networking, you know, contributing to the arts, that kind of thing.
So is it more of just like a friendship thing that's kind of kept you here? Like working now, do you mostly work in Franklinton, or is it all?
I work at home in Grove City.
Okay.
But I show wherever. I mean, I've got murals all over town.
Where are all of those murals, or at least a couple?
Mikey's Late Night Slice, the patio wall at Oddfellows, where the original one is. I did the mural on the inside of the bar at their 4th Street location. Their newest one in Old Town on Oak, which they're leaving soon. Unfortunately, I did the murals there. I did one on the back of Old Familiar Barbershop on Parsons and Old Town East. I did 2 on the inside of Standard Live next to Standard Hall in the Short North. I also did a food pantry, which is called Annie V's Corner of Kindness. It's on a fence. That's on the south side. It's on the corner of Ann and Sycamore. And then this one, obviously.
Which would you say is probably one of your favorites?
Oh, easily the Oddfellows wall.
Why?
I mean, that's the biggest one I've ever done.
Really?
Yeah.
How big is that?
It's huge. I can't even begin to measure it. I mean, it's a whole wall.
Like, is that an outside wall?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your process for doing that?
Just
what makes it so special.
It was just my friend Chad that owns a distillery in Columbus. He's also an artist. It's called 451 Spirits. It's in Clintonville. He helped me with it.
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's got everything on it from a toucan, the state of Ohio, a UFO, flowers, and then my characters. It even has a homage to my friend's art gallery, 83 Gallery, that started out there. They're still going strong, but they were originally where Oddfellows is now back in the day.
Okay.
So
I know that, like, I've seen some of your different works, and a lot of like your faces have this sort of it's a very continuous look how you do your faces. Can you tell us a little bit about how that?
Like I said earlier, they're just everyday people struggling to make it through life, but I also incorporate some of my heritage into it too. Like if you've ever seen the tikis in Polynesian art, they have very long, extended features. And like a lot of the masks in New Guinea are like that too, like in Papua New Guinea. Like So my tribal heritage, my Hawaiian heritage, always rainbows and sunshine. It's not always the easiest thing, but it's a labor of love. And the best advice I can give anyone that's starting out is just to keep practicing. Embrace the process. I had a mentor named Linda. She passed away in 2020. But that lady is basically solely responsible for why I still do what I do. She grew up dirt poor in the Appalachian Mountains. She had no running water. She had an abusive father. And she rose above all that and used art as a way to enrich not only her life, but before she died, her and my friend Paul, who's also an artist, they went nationwide and started this thing called the You Will Rise Project. And they would go all over the country and help kids get into art to use that as a way to rise above bullying and to cope with bullying. And now it's international.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
And she taught private art lessons before she died. So when I was a teenager, her and my friend Paul and older women would take private lessons from her, and all the young kids that took private lessons from her, she called them her golden children. And I was one of them. So like she used to always, whenever I would get discouraged, like whenever I would complain about a painting that I didn't like, she would always tell me, she'd be like, you need to embrace the process. Meaning, when you get discouraged with a piece, don't just throw in the towel, don't give up, enjoy the ins and outs that go into making the work. Keep practicing, stick with it, get it out there, network, talk to other artists, look at other artists' work, and don't give up because you never know what could happen.
That's very true. You never know what could.
You don't. And I mean, like my friend Chad that I mentioned, the guy that owns the distillery, Chad Kessler. We were talking a while ago. We have both made more money with our art selling it than Van Gogh did the whole time he was alive.
That is very poignant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the guy was a master, and the whole time he was alive, he was in poverty. And now his stuff sells for millions, and we've made more being alive selling art than he did the whole time he was alive.
That's really encouraging.
Yeah.
What would you consider in this field, and in your life and what you do, to be a successful artist?
I mean, obviously, if you can make a living out of it, which I'm hoping to do someday, but I think at the end of the day, if you enjoy doing it, I think that speaks volumes. That's successful to me.
That's great.
Because, I mean, I don't do this to make money. I mean, it's always nice to get paid to do murals. It's always nice when people buy your art, you know, but like, at the end of the day, this is my therapy. It's my voice. It's my passion. You know, it's kept me sane all these years. Like when I'm having a rough day or I'm discouraged or I'm just, you know, I've had enough of everything, I go in my studio, I shut the door, I put some music, I drop in and I tune out and I shut the world out and I sling some pain. And that to me is success. Because like, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but a lot of people, their whole life consists of working a job that they hate and paying bills, and then they die. And when they're young, they have dreams, they have passions, they're all about it, and then life gets in the way, and they just give up, and they throw in the towel. And I decided a long time ago, I'm like, I don't want to live that kind of life. I don't want to work some crappy corporate job that I hate and just pay bills and then die someday and never live. And I mean, everybody's different. Not everyone's in art. That's fine.
No.
You know, some people are left brain, some people are right brain. That's fine. But I just, you know, this is what I was put on this earth to do. And I'm going to do it till the day I die and do it to the best of my ability. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I know you do a lot of networking, but beyond that, how do you get these different commissions to do these different murals? I mean, or even just like selling smaller pieces of artwork?
Well, I mean, a lot of times it's just through my reputation and just applying. Like, Scrawl, like, you know, they put the call for entries out. And since I've done it for so long, I obviously have my foot in the door. That helps immensely. You know, and just like with 934 Fest, again, the same thing. Like, I've done it multiple years. And just word of mouth, my reputation. And then with the personal commissions, that's just people coming to me. Like, the Art and Artists of 614 is a really good tool. Because like I post my art on there, people see it, they like it, they buy it off there, they buy it from me directly, but they see the work on there. So a lot of it, like I said, has to do with my reputation, and then people just coming to me and hitting me up.
Where do you want to see your art going in the future? Like,
well, I'm trying to go international. I mean, I already had a solo in Hong Kong last year.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And then there's a gallery in the UK that specializes in street art and graffiti. They gave me their email address. I'm going to submit work to them. So I'm trying to go as far as I can with it.
That's excellent.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So with something like that, would you travel then?
I mean, I would like to, but I don't have a passport, and I work 20 hours a week. I don't really have the money right now, but what's cool about the London thing is I have a contact in my phone, this guy, and he literally said to me, he's like, if you ever come to London, I have a wall for you. Meaning that I'll have a mural that I could do. And I have a friend that said he would like gladly go to London with me.
So maybe there's some sponsorship opportunities to get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe someone who's watching this will be able to help there.
Right on. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Do you see your art evolving? Like, is there a particular thing that you would like to try to do within your artwork that you haven't quite done yet?
That's what I can think of. I mean, I definitely want to mix it up. I've been thinking about incorporating more animals into the work, like a little bit more realism, that kind of thing. Like doing the backgrounds that I do, but then having like animals over top of them.
Oh.
Like you saw the one I did recently with the power grid and the telephone pole. Mm-hmm. That was totally out of left field. Like that
really is very different from the other work that I've seen. That's kind of why I was curious. And it was more like landscape, but it was it still had a very, you know, urban feel to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the animals, like, would you kind of give them almost like the personality of your people?
No, it would be like realistic.
Realistic?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then it'd be like against like a abstract or urban background. I also want to do like city scenes. Like I have a photo that I took of downtown off of Mound Street years ago. I want to do a painting of that, but in black and white.
Ooh. There is a lot of like really gritty areas around here.
Yeah, those are my favorite kind. I'm not a big fan of the gentrification.
No, me neither.
There's enough freaking lofts going up.
Yeah. How does that incorporate into your art, like the gentrification and the changes to the neighborhood?
It really doesn't. I mean, I don't really try. I don't really get very political in my work. Every now and then I do, but
okay.
There's enough negativity in the world as it is, and I'm not trying to piss anybody off. So I try to steer clear of hot button issues if I can help it.
No, that's smart. Is there anything that you would just like to say to whoever might be watching?
You can follow me on Instagram at Christopher_Cropper and make art, not war. Love each other.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yep.